Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining us at True Crime Uncorked. Hope everybody's having a good week. I'm going to add my friend Allison to the stream real quick. Hi Froggy, hi Nikki. It is 1:07 where Nikki's at. Oh, good Lord. In the morning or afternoon, Nikki?
There's people from all over the world in these channels.
Yeah, I think Nikki is Australia.
Yeah, I've got a lot of people from Australia.
Yeah. Hi DTOS. Hi Gigi.
Well,
Hi,
heck, I'm in the show and I didn't even know it.
Yeah, look at you. You didn't pay attention. Hi, Amanda. Nikki, where are you at? I'm curious. London. She's in London. I want to go to London.
Oh, me too.
If I come to London, will you show me around, Nikki?
I'll go with you.
Australia is my dream vacation. It is, that is my bucket list location, is to go to Australia, but I would love London too. That would be amazing. I hope everybody is having a good week. It is hump day. It's been a busy day. I have been super busy today. How have you been, Allison?
You don't want to know. My house is still tore up from painting.
Oh.
Trying to get the house painted, you guys. It's been, ask Amanda. She knows what I've went through. Why is it you start out with one project and you end up with 50?
I hear you. I hear you. ADD kicks in and it happens.
Well, no, my refrigerator leaked.
Oh, no. Hi, Melissa.
Yeah. Hey, Melissa.
So tonight I have Allison and her friend is with her. And I forgot your friend's name already. Amanda?
Her name's Michelle.
Michelle. Why did I have an Amanda? I don't know why I had an A in that.
Because I just talked about Amanda.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Thank you, Melissa. I tried something new with my hair, and I'm not sure if I like the curlers. We'll see.
I do. I like it. I think
it's a little
pretty.
insane. I seen them at the store. I thought, oh, let me try those. And then I thought, oh, let's get a wild hair and do it before our live.
Well, at least you have
Hi,
your
Rena.
hair done.
Huh?
I said, at least you have your hair done.
I am a little vain, guys. It just is one of those things. Oh, I think we should change Rena's name to manager because that did happen earlier. So
Is Rena here?
Yes. Hi, allegedly with Brittany.
Hey, Brett.
Now Melissa's going to have all of us calling Rena manager. So we're going to talk about a case tonight that is very near and dear to Allison. Thank you, Brittany. And it is the missing, let's see, it would be a cold case of a missing man from 1984, Harry Milligan. And I was trying to figure out how to word that because have they declared him dead?
They had to back in when I'm going to introduce Michelle real quick.
Okay,
I
do
know
that.
Everybody that I've ever talked to, when I've talked about Harry, I've always said the girl that created the Facebook page, she is actually the true angel. She went to Harry's brother and she got everything started. And we actually now it's opened up as a criminal case, but they had to declare him dead when, Michelle?
I believe in the early 90s.
Yeah, early 90s. Or they said that he...
Well, they had to get him declared dead because they wanted to complete his estate, basically, and they wanted the military to...
Because they had him saying that he deserted.
They wanted to change the military status.
Because he was military, then
his daddy was military. So, and his dad, that was the hardest thing that he ever had to do was declare him dead.
Can you imagine? Because you're still holding out hope. I mean, there's hope.
That man,
always.
He never left the house, even after his wife passed away, and it was just him. He was older. Mark was gone, but he never left. He was hoping and praying that Harry would just walk through the door. And listening to Mark tell that story, it'll break your heart.
It would be that parent. Never sell my home, never move, be afraid to go anywhere in case they came home. Or somebody knocked on the door to say, hey, I think this is your son. I mean, that would be hard.
that would be the worst thing possible, to have your child come up missing and not know what
It
happened.
would. My oldest, who is my I hate to say problem child. She is my, if I have gray hair, it's because of her. And there have been times when she goes on tangents and we can't find her. And it is the scariest thing as a mother. And her sister gets mad at me. She's like, Mom, she's just doing her shit. You know, this is what she does. And da da da. And I'm like, but I'm her mom and it's different. You know, that panic gets in and I just couldn't. And it's been for, I think, about 7 days was the longest we couldn't get in touch with her.
I couldn't handle that.
And I couldn't imagine anything past that.
Yeah.
I just
My
couldn't.
oldest daughter's 30, and if I don't hear from her at least once a day, I go in panic mode. I don't think we ever stop worrying.
I tried that with my son, and he gets kind of pissy.
Nah, boys are different, I'm sure.
He is something else, and and of course I tell her when I introduce him, I still introduce him as my baby. And so he's like, you know, I'm 25, Mom. I'm not really a baby. And I'm like, you're always going to be the baby. I don't know what to tell you.
That's
Just
funny.
deal with it, dude. I don't know.
That is funny.
And if I can't get in touch with him, I will text him and say, are you alive? And then he will text me back and say, no, this is my ghost. Smart ass.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with having, you know, a little bit of smart ass in you.
No. So in the description of this video, I'm going to have several bits of information. I'm going to have a Venmo account listed where you can, and I'm fixing to put that on the screen, if you want to donate to the investigation purposes of this story, you can donate to that Venmo. I'm going to put their Facebook page in there, and any other information we come up with that need to be in there will be in the description. So if you're watching this on the replay, that information will be in the description for you to go back to. Let me add that banner while I'm thinking about it.
There you go.
There we go.
Look, if there is a PIN number, some people haven't had to have one, but some people, they've asked for it. I think it's for security purposes, to make sure it's
probably
into the account.
Yeah, and I don't mess with Venmo, so I mean I know Cash App and Facebook Pay and PayPal. That's about it.
I don't know Cash App.
I did it because it's cheaper than some of the others.
Yeah.
It doesn't charge you, and everything else charges you so damn bad.
Yeah,
I
get that.
So let's get to where we're at here. So Harry, in July of 1984, right? I have my dates right.
July 1st of 84.
Yep.
He went out with some friends.
Well, it was actually June 30th when he went out.
Okay.
Yeah, he worked that day, painted a house. Not really sure of the timeline of when he went home. Right, Michelle?
Right.
He got ready, told his mom he was going to go out with some friends. From what I can remember, he told his sister, make sure I'm awake in the morning. We have a ball game. They had every year they had a ball game, a tournament, a slow pitch tournament. And he had all the equipment in the car. And he ran around with some friends uptown, met a couple guys. Okay. Yep. They talked, nothing unusual. At some point he went to the bar in Albia. It's called the Waterworks. And allegedly he has won some money, anywhere between $1,200 and $1,800 is what we've been told.
Damn.
And back then, that's a lot of money.
It was a lot of money in the 80s. And do we know how he won that money?
Poker.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And he also had his bonus from the military on him.
And see, that's the first I've heard of that. So he actually had his bonus from the military, she just said.
Okay. And back in the 80s, because that's my husband joined in 89. Those bonuses weren't very big, but in the 80s, that was still a lot of money. A couple $100 at least, maybe $1,000. And so we're looking at on his person, he would have had anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500. We're thinking.
Yeah, that's a good guesstimate.
Yes.
Okay.
So he won the money, and then him and two of the guys left and went riding around and stopped and talked to a few other people that said they seen him talking to this person, and then another person said that they seen him talking to another person.
But Albia is a very small town,
Yes.
if you can imagine that. And on the weekends, that's what kids do. Even 21-year-olds, they go cruising. They see who they can meet up with. They talk, at their cars. He was at the bar at one point and had allegedly, possibly, there was the card game.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah, there is a lot of can someone post finding Harry's channel link?
Yeah, I'm pulling mine up on the computer, and because I think they're all
Okay, that would be great. Thank you, Rena.
That is my channel, but I haven't made any videos yet.
Yeah. No, this is the
channel, but I haven't made any.
Yeah, I will definitely. She actually just started this channel, you guys. So I'm going to post it in mine too after the video, because remember, I'm sure Melissa Jade and everybody remembers me when I was trying to do it. I was panicking and I would delete. I would do a video and I'd delete. And Melissa's like, Allison, you've got to quit deleting these.
Yeah, don't delete them.
Oh, but I was, because it was awful. And like she always said, as you do more, it gets easier.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Let people see how you grow.
Yes. And I, exactly, Melissa. But yeah, so she's starting her own channel, and
I don't know why my computer's not letting me put it up.
And like I said, she knows so much. She's my go-to girl when I have a question on anything. I mean, she's got a lot of big plans, and I'm very blessed to have got to know her, and Harry's using her. I can guarantee you that. And I'm very proud of her. Anyways, where were we at?
He won some money.
Yes.
Okay, so he won some money. He actually ran into a few people who have been interviewed. One guy was on his way to work, and Harry tried to talk him into not going to work. He's like, look, I have money. Let's go drink some beers and stuff like this. And to this day, that guy regrets going to work because he thinks he could have saved Harry's life that night. There's just all these little interactions. He was seen pulled over by a local cop named Popcorn earlier that night.
A local cop named what?
Popcorn.
Yeah, that was his nickname, Popcorn. Yeah.
And remember that, because as we go on with the story,
I should not laugh at that name, but it's funny. Sorry.
He was definitely worth laughing at.
He's not a good guy in this story.
No, you got that. Just like Michelle said, really remember the name, because we will be talking about him more and more as the story goes.
Okay.
Yeah, so, they saw him, and one guy was like, hey, what'd Popcorn pull you over for? And Harry was like, oh, it's just Popcorn doing popcorn shit. But
it is not letting me find that channel either. I guess because it's brand new.
Yeah, and I will post the link, you guys, and anybody that
yeah, because it's not letting me find it either.
Okay.
I might not have it. The settings right. I'll look that up.
Yeah, we'll get it.
Popcorn stopped him, you said.
Yeah. And then he went riding around, and eventually he ends up in a car with Rockwell, Steve Rockwell, and one of his buddies, Jeff Adler, and they picked up another guy, Doug Matty. They rode around for a while, anywhere from, oh goodness.
This is where the timeline, you guys, it's what, 12:30 to 5 o'clock in the morning.
5:30 in the morning.
5:30.
Yeah. They dropped him off. They saw him drive away, and nobody has ever seen or heard from him since. His car disappeared with him. His car was a 1977 Pontiac Grand Prix. It was a monster of a car.
Maroon in color.
Yeah, they were boats.
Yeah.
That was before they kind of made them like smaller sedans. That was a boat of a car.
Yes, exactly. Those they don't just go in a ditch and you don't find them again.
Right.
And that's where, Mark, his mom had called, knew he hadn't showed up. So she started calling friends and everybody's like, well, no, we haven't seen him since, last night or early this morning or whatever. And so she ended up getting a hold of Mark, which is Harry's brother, and he was stationed in California. And he's like, oh,
Allison, real quick, send me that channel to my messenger and I can post it.
Okay. You mean
Do that.
Michelle's here? Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt y'all. I just had that thought.
For some reason it's not showing.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well,
We'll get it.
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
Okay. Yeah, because I can always put it in the description too.
Yeah, I can have her send it to me and then I'll send it to you.
Okay. Sorry, I interrupted y'all again.
No. That's fine. Anyways, so they called Mark and Mark's like, Mom, he'll be home. 21 years old. They were drinking, thought maybe he pulled over to take a sleep or he, went to a girl's house at that age. You never know.
It's weird that the car is just gone.
Yeah, exactly. And
because even at junkyards, they run those VIN numbers. That would have been something they would have found.
Exactly. And then going back, Harry was also going to Northwest University College. He was home on college too.
Northwest Missouri State.
Yeah. Isn't that Northwest? Okay. Northwest Missouri State, which is Northwest University, isn't it? Or is it two different things?
It's Truman.
Oh,
now.
Okay. Yeah. So he was home from college and he literally had his whole life ahead of him. And so when all this went down, Mark was stationed in California and all of a sudden his general came to him and said, Mark, we need to get you home. And he told him the story and he got his stuff and he came back. He searched days into weeks looking for, every pond, every reservoir, every ditch to look for if a car had went off. They had helicopter planes out looking.
They walked it.
They walked everywhere. And then I don't know if you looked in the file as far as when the three guys that he was with, each one had a different story. And Michelle and me have actually went and drove each one's story. We've taken the route of, okay, this is Doug's story. This is Steve's story. We've done it all, and none of it makes sense.
And week after next, we'll break those stories down a little bit more.
Yes.
Allison's going to come back in 2 weeks, not next week. The next week is Thanksgiving, but the week after, and we're going to break the different scenarios and stories down a little bit more.
Yes, because there's so much, and if I think we do it all.
Look, Lala is on cruise and she's in chat.
So anyways, all three guys had a different story. And I mean, they're in between all this. They've actually said that the bar owner, which his son worked the bar and he was with, that would have been Mike Stalker. His name is pushed into this story too. They asked him to go to the other bar and get a case with cassette tapes in it. And nobody really understands why they sent him over there for that, to get this cassette, because he never really went in that bar very much. I mean, not hardly ever, but he did make it in there because the owner's sister has actually verified it. And there was two other people around Harry's disappearance that have died under circumstances that are we don't know.
Are you talking about Stalker?
well, as far as the other two people, Ernie, and then
Okay.
yeah, and back then, knowing everything that I know now, there was a lot of drugs coming in and out, and I mean a lot more than I would ever thought. And the people that he was with was known to Harry. Everybody that, and I don't know, you may have, Michelle, I've never heard anybody say that he did anything other than smoke pot and drank.
Yes, that's
Okay,
right.
everybody, he was not into the bad drugs. I mean, he was military. I'm sure they tested his
They would have been
urine.
testing. Well, in the 80s, that was kind of in the height of a serious drug issue. And that was when, Reagan cracked down on the drug trafficking and all of that. I mean, it was seriously bad everywhere, in small towns to big towns. It didn't matter. The 80s was drug haven, pretty much.
Yes.
And I think the major thing going through the bar that he was playing cards at that night was coke. And coke leaves your body fairly soon. So if he was being tested by the military,
Yeah.
that could still be a recreational drug he could have used.
Yeah. Yeah. So we didn't know him. You know, we're going by what everybody.
Because he was reservist, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
he did a once a month thing. So he would have known how long to wait till it got out of his system to get back in and get checked and all of that. So he could have been using. I mean, that's possible.
Yep. Yep. I mean, we don't know.
He was getting ready to go to annual training too. So that's another thing people were saying. He was just trying to get out of that.
Yeah.
Had he ever tried to get out of things before? Would that have been
not
him?
ever?
No.
Nope.
He never tried to shuck responsibility or anything like that.
Nope. And here's the thing. Let's go back to when Harry. Okay, so Harry was adopted by his dad, which is Leonard. He was adopted. Well, how old was he? Just a couple weeks or a couple months old?
From birth.
Okay, birth on. Leonard and his wife,
First wife.
the first wife, adopted him. Well, then she passed away.
No, they got divorced.
Okay, they got divorced.
Very shortly afterwards.
Okay, so then he kept Harry and he married Vicky. And they raised Harry as their own from till Harry went missing, whatever. Well, then Mark came along, and Leonard would have been Mark's grandpa.
Yep.
And he ended up adopting him as his own. So both kids were adopted. They were less than 2 years apart in age. They were very close. More so from what I've been told, Harry and Leonard were really, really close. I mean, it was them two, until Vicky and Mark come along. But, Harry was the typical 21-year-old, but his sister had cancer when Harry went missing. She ended up passing away 1 month after he went missing. Harry would have never missed his sister's funeral. And she was Vicky's daughter, right?
Yes.
Yes, but they were brother and sister. He loved her as a sister, and she loved him.
And what did you say she died from?
Cancer.
Oh, wow. Had she been sick?
Yes, she had already been
Well,
diagnosed.
he knew she was sick.
Yes.
She was living in the house
Yes.
with them.
Yeah, she was staying
Yeah,
there.
he doesn't sound like he would have just left knowing his sister was ill.
No, he would have never done that to his mom and dad and his brother. I mean, he just, from what I've been told, sometimes I feel like I know him. It's almost like I don't know. It's just a feeling that I've been told.
Typically people that are going to run away are going to be those that have marriages, high debt. If they've murdered their family, I mean, that happened with like John List, he took off after he murdered his whole family, but not just a single guy.
No,
That was a good
They would have contacted their parents, or given a heads up. He wasn't running from charges. He wasn't running from. It's not like with Brian Landry and, going off out in the woods because we know he murdered somebody. He was hiding for a reason.
Exactly.
There was nothing indicating that he would have been hiding from anything or anyone.
No.
And so that doesn't fit. I don't care what anybody says. It doesn't fit.
No, it does not fit. And then when you tell the truth, you don't have different stories. Well, each person of the three guys he was with, they all told a different story. Why? If it's the truth, the story doesn't change. It stays the same.
Yeah, Melissa, this is Gizmo. He is my little ninny boy.
Is that a Chihuahua thing?
He is a Chihuahua Papillon.
I've never heard of a Papillon.
Yeah, they're really cute, long-haired.
Yeah.
And he's a little brindled boy. He's a rescue. He had this eye nearly popped out. And so he's blind in that eye. He's extremely traumatized I carried him around for 7 days like this, 24/7. He stayed with me when that eye happened. And he would get my bathrobe and carry it through the house. And it was one of those big long ones. And that's what he would sleep in. And we'd look up and he'd be dragging it through the house.
Oh my goodness. That is, see, I would love to have a little puppy like that in my house.
And I can't get out of his sight. If I go to the bathroom and don't let him come in there with me, he is losing it. He will bite me. He nips me and barks because he just can't handle it. He has to stay with me all the time.
Oh my goodness. Heck,
and evidently he was wanting my attention just now.
The other day I was on the phone with Amanda and I had my Bluetooth in, and we have a puppy. She's probably 6 months old. She's a Labrador, and I was walking and had my Bluetooth on. So my phone, I was just holding on to walking, and that little shit grabbed my phone out of my hand and took off running with it. Yes, it was crazy. I couldn't believe she did that. Just took off running with my phone.
And Raina is over here having a fit cow because she wants up here too, and she's 80 pounds. It's not happening.
Now, what kind of dog's that?
German Shepherd.
Oh, yeah.
She's my service dog.
Do they get along good?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's good.
They have been big buddies since day one. This is her puppy.
Oh my goodness.
She loves him.
Oh wow. Okay, so Nikki says, so did all three guys change their stories, or did their stories different from each other? Both.
So they weren't even really matching.
No.
Okay.
And well, if you looked at the back then,
I had just started breaking those down.
Like I've said before, the interviews, my 10-year-old grandson could have done a better job at interviewing. And I know, like Michelle said, we're a very small town. They didn't know how to do any of this, I'm sure. But at one day they did an interview and the story was what they said. Well, then they go back and they do another interview and it's totally changed from the first. You know what I'm saying? And the three guys together, their stories were not the same.
They differ.
Yeah, they differ
a lot.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even like these stories were the same, but they might have seen something differently, that kind of thing. They were just different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the order in which everyone was dropped off was different.
Mm-hmm.
The times were different.
Way different.
The routes they took were different. But the commonality was they all saw Harry leave in his car and head home.
Yeah. That was the only thing that stayed what they said. Is that they dropped
the cops didn't question any of that.
Another person who said that Popcorn also said that he saw them dropped off.
And that was the cop now.
At the library, he said he saw them dropping Harry off. Back then, the police shifts would have, if he had pulled Harry over earlier that night, then that means he would have gone on shift at 7, which means he would have gotten off at 3. So, depending on when they were dropped off, does that make sense?
Yeah. It makes complete sense. I mean,
because if
he was already off work, how did he see them dropping him off?
Yeah, especially when one guy was very adamant that it was after 4, maybe even 5:30 in the morning.
And they're at the library. Why the library?
The library is only a block and a half away from the bar. So if they had been at the bar earlier and didn't want anybody to know, it wasn't.
Okay, so like drop him off there so he can walk to his car kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they picked him up. They dropped him off at his car, and 2 of the guys were parked at the library, and they rode around in the car with the other guy.
Yeah. I'm getting ready to send you that. I sent you the wrong thing, Brandy, so I'm sending you the right one now.
So we're definitely, when we do this, the next episode, we're going to break down all of these stories and how they differ. And
there's so much.
Because there's a lot to all of them.
If you guys go to findingharrymilligan.com, that's my website, and there's a resource page. I have every newspaper article available. I have a timeline. I have podcasts, links on there from The Vanished, Crime Time Nerds. I think there's another one. What else do I have on there? News.
Do we know how intoxicated all these guys were that night?
They said Harry wasn't no worse than what they've ever. I mean, really nothing. That really from what. Well, that's from the 3 guys that they interviewed. Other people said he was happy about winning the money, and they grabbed a 6-pack, and I don't know.
I mean, winning that kind of money, you would be kind of flying high. You'd be pretty happy.
And here's the thing: the guy that owns the bar where they had the poker games at, he had been known if he'd lost his money, he
got his money back.
He got his money back, and that. I mean, he's left people for dead before, beat the holy crap out of these
Literally
people.
Left them on railroad tracks.
Yes.
Hoping the train would take care of them.
Yep. And that's proven. One of my kids. So, yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of shady stuff that happened that night.
And when we get into Jim Wilson's story, some other bad guys will come into the story too, who are just as bad as Mike Stalker, the bar owner.
Yes.
It could have gone bad in several different ways.
Yes. And these people were his friends, you guys, his supposed friends. Was he questioned? Angela said they were all questioned.
They weren't questioned. They weren't brought in.
They
were not brought in and interviewed. They were asked some questions.
Yeah.
Their answers were written down, and then they moved on.
That's what I was saying. My grandson could have done a better job at it. All of it. It was terrible.
Well, if you listen to The Vanished or any show that covers a missing person case, especially a man in the 80s, it was not illegal to go missing. They were not investigated.
Well,
sad.
The sad thing is any of these towns that are smaller towns that don't normally have a lot of crime, they don't know what they're doing. Even in murder cases, that's usually, and they have an ego problem. They don't want to call for help from departments that know what they're doing because then they don't look like they're qualified to do their job, and it's an ego thing. Yeah. Or they want to solve it. That was why a lot of times they couldn't solve serial killer cases, because if it crossed jurisdictions, nobody wanted to share information because they wanted to solve it. And it takes you longer to solve anything. Well, same thing in these small town crimes like this. They mess up, they botch investigations. You can look at it even with the Darlie Bertier case. They botch investigations constantly. And that's kind of what this is gearing up to me, is that totally botched. They didn't know what they were doing. Instead of reaching out to other departments for help.
Well, they had 3 murders, 2 back in 1984, 2 of them, and one not too long after Harry. You would have thought that they would have been calling somebody in to help then, with all of it, which
Well, even if it goes, you could say maybe you could understand it not happening in the beginning, but 6 months to a year down the line, okay, the case has gone cold. We need help, and they haven't done that. So have they ever tried to drag any of the bodies of water in the area, the lakes or anything like that?
Yeah, we were supposed to have Adventures with Purpose come, but they actually ended up in Hampton, Iowa, and found and recovered a car and a body that day that they were supposed to be here instead, which I really wasn't sure what bodies of water they were going to search here, because we're really limited on what could be searched. But since then, we have a DNR expert here who is a search and rescue diver, and he has personally used the side sonar and searched in the last year every body of water where he could have been in the county anyway.
Because I know, like here, I want to say 2 weeks ago, where was it at? Somewhere around Houston. They were looking for something else and pull out a car that was there from the 80s.
Yeah.
I was like, and it was like, oh, what are they fixing to find in this car? I mean,
we were really hoping for that. And the DNR guy that did do the searches for us said that I think one of the bodies of water could be searched at a different time of year and might get better results, but he didn't see anything that indicated there were any cars in the area.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Facebook group, right?
Yeah, I'm putting it in here now.
There's another place we have, there's a pond on the property that was owned by that bar owner at the time. It has not been searched. The sheriff was given permission by the landowner to search it, and he decided that there wasn't enough reason to.
Is that the same place that the dog hit?
No,
that's a different one.
I'm talking about Stalker's
Oh,
property.
okay.
so when did the family report him missing?
On July 1st at
So
7
they
o'clock.
met within 24 hours and like, okay,
Yes.
he didn't come
Yep.
home. Okay.
And we live in a small town. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody's related to everybody. It's
Yeah, that just somebody knows something.
yes.
I got you guys approved.
Thank you, guys.
They are really good. They're really good about joining and
Hey,
jumping
one
in.
thing I want to say about Michelle, you guys, her husband is actually a sheriff's deputy, and Michelle actually has the schooling and could be a cop if you wanted to.
Oh, well, I don't know.
I mean, you have the schooling.
Yeah,
yes.
I have a criminal justice. School.
Yes. She's got
I'm
everything.
gonna tell you what, I don't know. I mean, I've always, and I do support cops like crazy, but it would not be a profession I would encourage
Not
anybody
these
to
days.
join right now.
It's a small town. I don't know if I could get hired. That's why I said I don't know.
Well, the good thing about Michelle is she's very blunt. She's to the point. She really don't care about hurting somebody's feelings. If she's going to say it, she's going to say it. And that's what I respect about her the most.
Well, that gets in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. We were
So-
told we couldn't go out on the property where there's a chance he's there. And I said, I got to stop the car. I got to pee. And she knew what I was going to do. She knew I wanted to get out, but she wouldn't let me.
Yeah, Melissa. I
Yeah,
when you get into this, it gets crazy.
it is one of those. There's a few of the cases that I'm working on doing, and it's kind of like you're looking at them going, is it botched, or is it a cover up, or is it both, or is it, it just, and it bounces from one time to the next, and you're thinking something different because of how it's frustrating. God, it's frustrating.
Here's something else we could cover that. Okay, so Popcorn is a city police officer. You follow me?
Okay.
The case belongs to Monroe County Sheriff's Department.
Okay.
Mike Stalker was the bar owner, who is, most people's, top person of interest. Popcorn interviewed Mike Stalker. It's in the case file.
Yes.
Why would a city police
That's what I was going to say. Why is the cop that's not even in part of the investigation doing any of the interviewing?
And the interviews are, like she said before, elementary.
And why, if he did them, why was there a cop from the sheriff's department involved? Because that's what happened with the Steve Avery case. The cops that were supposed to be doing the investigation still let the other cops do their job instead of doing, taking over like they should have.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make sense to me. Why was Popcorn doing it in kind of questioning of suspects?
Yeah, it's you guys. If I'm saying not botched in my opinion, and there's so much more. And once we really get into it, and
so you're
now
feeling
I know what I can and can't. Michelle being here, it makes I was so nervous on things I didn't know if I could say or not.
So your feeling, Allison, is that this was a cover-up?
Yes, ma'am.
And also here's more to the story. If you guys joined the Facebook group, Popcorn.
Amanda, absolutely. Hometown little boy, she said. Absolutely.
Yep. Exactly. No, Popcorn is retired, but his name is Larry Jones. He is a member of the Facebook group. There was a post, and everybody said he was crooked. They roasted him, and it got kind of out of hand. So the original creator of the post deleted it.
Yeah.
Oh, it made me so mad. He's in there, and he has denied pulling Harry over that night. He said he can't recall.
Now, a missing person, a cop, you're going to know if you pulled that person over or not. I mean,
wasn't the record of him pulling him over?
How would we know? How would we look that up? We can't infiltrate the records. We can't. It's not in the case file.
With it being a cold case or an unsolved case at all, you can't get anything. That's why I'm surprised y'all have what you have.
Because this was before it turned into a criminal, and when they opened it up. From then on out, once it became criminal, you guys,
they closed us down.
We can't. They don't give us anything.
They won't.
The Freedom of Information Act was how we got the file.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the thing with any of these cases that are unsolved. They won't and cannot give you anything because it could. They want when they go for this is what they say for ones that do their job. They don't want to jeopardize any questioning. So if you've had the information, you've leaked it, then somebody could admit to something that they didn't really do because they've already read the paperwork, or people know what you have and they won't say nothing. So they just won't. It jeopardizes everything. That's why I was shocked y'all did have what you had. I was like, when I first pulled it up and I'm reading it, I'm just thinking it's probably like 20, 30 pages, and it's like 205 pages. And I'm like, wow.
Oh, I wish I could give you I have my own file, and I've gone through and weeded out like the duplicates.
I'm going to have her help me with mine and get all, because I don't want to, I'm scared if I'm going to screw something up if I throw something away or get rid of something, but she will clean all mine up for me too. So I won't be so overwhelmed. There's 230 pages, and some of them are just stuff that it doesn't make any sense on why, and doubles, and
And so if you're watching the replay and missed it, scrolling across the bottom of the screen is a Venmo number that if you want to donate to help the investigation. They're looking at private investigators, more signs, anything that'll help the investigation.
Retired homicide, whatever.
Yeah.
And this Venmo goes straight to the bank.
No, it does not. It goes straight to Mark Milligan, Harry's brother.
Oh, the other one goes to the bank.
It's going straight to the brother who is taking care of all of the investigation things. And there's a PIN number that goes with it. It may ask you for that PIN number. It may not. But that is the information. Again, I'll have that in the description. I'm going to add that later. And it'll be there for anybody watching the replay.
Yes.
So let's talk about a few theories. Give us at least two. Do y'all have two that y'all can talk about?
This is stuff that we've heard, we've been told by other people.
Oh, I've got
Right.
tons of
All
Yeah,
of it's
we've
going to
got
be
tons.
hearsay.
I'll give you
hearsay.
One that I was told by a brother of one of the where they say his car is buried at. It's called the Davis Farms, but his brother actually come into the store one day, and we have the jars and where people put money in, and we've got the Harry Dennis Milligan that my daughter-in-law makes the t-shirts and stuff. Well, he comes walking in, and you guys got to realize his brother back then was involved in something with this case. They were not good people. The brother was in California. That's the guy that came in the store. I have nothing against him at all as of now. Anyways, he come in the store and he goes, "You know what happened to that boy, don't you?" And I said, "No, why don't you tell me?" And I'm writing this down as he's telling me. He goes, "Well, first of all, his car's buried out at the Davis Farms ditch at my old property." Well, back then, my Jim, he would do a lot of things for the Davis, Richard Davis, and like bury cars and stuff. He said if it is out there, it would have to be probably 20 foot deep. That car would have to be, because they've taken cars and buried them. Who knows how deep it would be if it is out there. And he said that.
Why do they bury cars?
Was it a junkyard?
That's what they would just they would just bury, and then they would move them to another part of the property, and it's terrible. And it makes me wonder why they were in. And Jim back then was only, still in high school. He was just doing it to make some extra money, And anyways, he said, they buried his car, but they shot him and put him in a coal train. And so he could be here and anywhere else in the world, wherever this coal train was going, which come to find out that story, that the guy that's told Charlie the brother, he's told 25 different stories, but I don't believe that's what happened. Go ahead, Michelle. Tell him.
Irvin just joined in at the right time. Who's burying cars?
Well, just hang on tight, Irvin.
There are so many theories.
So many.
The one that I happen to believe the most is there was a kid. He's actually a friend of mine. His name is Jim Wilson. He was 7 years old at the time. He lived in a trailer park owned by the Davis family that she just mentioned. Remember, we talked about Doug Maddie was one of the guys riding around with Harry.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually claims that he was the last one dropped off. He said he saw Harry drive away. Well, this kid, Jim Wilson, the next morning would be a Sunday morning, July 1st, was playing outside with his brother in the trailer park. They heard gunshots. His brother ran away. Jim hid. Jim saw, or believes he saw, them bury Harry's body in a carpet. Pretty much used what are those loaders or whatever,
like a skid loader,
dug a hole,
front end loader kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, put Harry's body that was rolled up in a carpet in that hole, set it on fire, and then buried it. Jim, those memories all came flooding back when he saw the picture of Harry's car, because he it brought back all those memories. And his story matches somebody else's story really, really well, which is why I tend to believe it.
And didn't Davis send them to California?
That night,
Yes.
Richard Davis and Jim's dad were best friends. Jim got the shit beat out of him
for not staying inside like he was told.
for being outside. And that night, Richard Davis sent their whole family and they moved to Colorado that night.
So why would he send them away, guys, to a whole different state? Does it make any sense to you guys?
That's suspicious.
Oh, you think? Yeah.
Irvin says, I've burnt cars for insurance, but never have I ever thought of burying it. But maybe it's because I'm in Hawaii, so it could be a different demographic.
You ain't right.
Oh, in Iowa, it's a farmer thing.
Yes.
When a car when it's no longer useful, they just put it in a ditch. They bury them.
Instead of taking it to junkyards and paying somebody to do it, they just bury them themselves, I guess.
They use
We
them.
derby them. I like to derby them.
Hey, now that's my kind of thing. Let's go do some derbies. Yeah, we're in rice country here, so it's too wet to do any of that. You'd be digging and end up in marshland.
And that theory that Michelle just said, that is the one that I believe too.
I mean, I would like to raise the money. I've reached out to several different hypnotherapists. I would like Jim to be hypnotized and see what else we can recover, or, determine once and for all what he saw. If, I don't know if
he was so young, and seeing that picture, you guys literally brought everything back. Could you imagine?
That's kind of sad.
Mm-hmm.
How old was he again at that time?
7.
Wow.
And literally, you guys, he took the sheriff out to
a deputy.
The deputy sheriff. Yeah, we're out to where they buried. He thought they buried him at. There's actually a tree that is dead where almost looks like it could have caught on fire, and that would have been 30 some years ago.
Wow.
And I know people are asking, why haven't they
dug
him up? Well, Michelle, tell him that now.
Okay, so Jim Wilson takes the deputy in charge of the investigation out to the exact spot that he says that he remembers Harry being buried. And they took a dog out there, a cadaver dog, supposedly. I don't know if I believe that even, but they said the dog showed some interest in that spot. And then they said they were going to wait. They had to wait for the field to be hayed. Well, the field got hayed. And then nothing. And then nothing. And now they have to wait for the frost.
But that's been already done.
We have to wait for the frost to send out another dog to see if it hits in the same spot, because after the frost, there'll be less sense to confuse the dog.
But you guys, we had the frost in October, the first frost. I mean, that should have been, that's why I'm like, I just want to go dig.
But if it's a cadaver dog, it's not going to be confused by regular people scent. It's looking for
a body,
decomposing bodies. It's got specific scents that it's trained to look for.
Nikki says, don't bodies cause trees to die, or if they're buried by it or under it, or
I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know that.
What? I need to look into that, Nikki, because you're probably right.
So they've been stalling. Jim came forward back in April, I believe.
Irvin, you're fine. I love those comments.
So, I mean, why?
I love that Irvin is always left field. We never know what's coming out of him.
Go ahead, Michelle.
I was just like, so, since April, why are they stalling?
Yeah.
We could have an answer if that's the place or not. On the Stalker property, if the sheriff had decided to, he could have went out there and searched the pond. He had permission from the landowner. He decided it wasn't necessary. We could have some of these answers.
That's my thing, is nothing should be not necessary.
Exactly.
When you're looking at a missing person and possibly murdered person, you should turn over every rock, every possibility. I mean, that's just, that's police work 101. I mean,
get this. I mean, they opened this case, as a criminal investigation last December. And all of these guys that, we've been mentioning, and some of it, like Mike Stalker's dead, but I've been asking around. Nobody's being interviewed. That's what I would think. You open this case, the first thing you should do is go back to your basics. Start questioning witnesses. Go back one step at a time. They're not talking to anybody.
Yeah. Well, Mark, the brother, he's actually seen somebody in the store, and Mark's told him, the sheriff will be getting a hold of you. They're like, nope, he's never came yet. He's never came. And then one guy walked up to Mark and said, yeah, the sheriff come up to me and said, I need to talk to you. We need to get a meeting set up. He called him. He never answered, never returned phone call. The sheriff hasn't even asked to set up a meeting. And that was 5 months ago.
They're not. It's the deputy in charge of the investigation should be reaching out to everybody that could have possibly.
Or DCI agent.
The DCI agents.
I know.
Don't get me started on that.
I know it. But I mean, he's the only DCI agent we have and nothing.
I'm going to have, Irvin said they've shown that kind of stuff on those body farm documentaries. I'm going to have to look some of them up, see if we can find that information.
I mean, we have.
Oh, I want to watch that.
What's that?
Body farm documentary.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
What is that?
Yeah.
What is-
There are body farms where they develop different conditions and they take, when people have passed away, they donate their bodies to science or whatever. They take them and put them in those conditions, and they study how bodies decompose and what different elements affect different things.
Now I know what you're talking about.
I didn't know that's what it was called.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah, it's called body farms.
Irvin. Thank you. And then take for instance the one of the guys that had passed away, Mike Stalker. He had cancer and he was on hospice, and he was the deputy. One of the deputies was supposed to go down and talk to him. They thought maybe he was wanting to tell what happened, knowing he was dying. But guess what? The deputy didn't get down there, didn't get a chance to get down there.
He didn't want to.
Exactly. He didn't want to is what it was.
He just didn't get around to it.
I mean, an open investigation. I just don't understand. This is why I am so frustrated. And
you guys, you pegged it exactly right just a little while. It's an old boys club.
Yep. Yeah.
They're in charge. They don't want anybody questioning them. They don't want anybody making them look bad.
Mm-hmm.
That happens. That's the same thing that happened with the Rodney Reed case. It was a good old boy system. And they either don't do the job for the investigation or they find a way to put it off on somebody else and to cover for their buddies. They're I've been listening to the Cousins by Blood podcast, and Ivan Cantu's wife, which he's in prison on death row, his wife, she lives here in Louisiana. Her and I have talked quite a bit on the phone. She is a doll. And in this last season of the podcast, they've been releasing new information that they've gotten. And I'm like, every episode I call her, I'm like, you could have given me a heads up. Like, for real. How did this happen? There's the fingerprint on the bullet that they said was his is not his, not by any, it was never tested. They just said, oh, it looked like his. It was never tested. The main witness that was somebody that would have had motive and opportunity because he lived there, he gave a, losing train of thought. He his alibi of where he was, they never questioned the alibi. When the PI called the person that he had given this alibi for, he said he was never here. I didn't see him for days. And he was like, he wasn't even that close of a friend. And he was like, did they ever call you? No, I never talked to anybody.
Yeah.
The defense team never even contacted the dude. So it's like, why do we not follow through?
There is no follow-up.
And on the Cousins by Blood, that happened in Dallas. That's a big city. That's not small town. So it's frustrating to me when these cops don't follow through. I know they have one job, but that one job is a lot. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're given this kind of story with somebody who one is missing. At first, he's just missing. We don't know. And it goes on, and it's uncharacteristic. He doesn't come back for his sister's funeral. He doesn't show up for military. He doesn't go back to college. He's not spending this money that he just won. I mean, he's a young guy. He's not putting it into his car. He's not, or whatever, he just poof, he's gone. Doesn't call mom and dad, no clue. I mean, they're worried enough that they call the next day. Most parents would have been a little bit longer, but they're pretty quickly going, this isn't like him. So why not do the investigation and look? Had they looked then, they would have had more answers. Now it's going to be an act of Congress to get those answers.
Irvin wants to know.
Yeah, that could be true.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not going to buy the limited budgeting because there are so many people in the community willing.
Yeah.
The training is probably the bigger issue. And I will give the police this, because Harry was adopted and it was a private adoption. Mm-hmm. We did not have his DNA to run through CODIS, but they did open those adoption records. They searched and they found some family of Harry's, and we also had a sample from an envelope, and they matched. So they were able to get Harry's DNA, put it through CODIS, and there were no matches.
Well, plus, you guys, there's another thing. He was in the reserves. Well, Kansas City has a file on him when he went in.
They will have dental. They will have everything.
Yes, exactly. Well, we have tried, I know, since July to get his file. And with COVID, they don't have anybody working in that department to get the file. And Mark's like, well, what if I drive down there? There's still nobody in that department to give him the file. So we don't even know when we're going to get his military file. And that's another thing. We didn't even know anything about that file until another friend said she's got a lot of family in the military. And she's like, everybody's file in Iowa is down there. You know, you would have thought that the military would have been here doing a search. He didn't show up. They would have been here, unless they talked to the deputy or the sheriff or police.
If the police department never put any kind of urgency on it, that it was anything to look into,
exactly,
they won't mess with it.
Yes,
they just won't mess with it. And for me, Irvin, on this one, I think this is more of a cover up. I do. I think the police were involved. I think that I'm really on some of the other stuff that I've read, and we're going to talk about that in a couple weeks. The different people involved. Either he saw something he shouldn't have.
Yep.
Or there was more money than we're thinking, and they wanted it.
Yep.
Popcorn was known to be involved. I mean, I've heard so many stories
where various activities.
Pull kids over, take their drugs, and then sell them. And I mean, he was seen by drug dealers' kids who are now coming forward saying, yeah, he used to come to our house.
Yep. Very corrupt.
And what happened when you reached out to him? She messaged Larry Jones.
I did.
Popcorn.
I did.
And he responded. Tell him.
Let me go back to the messages, but
I can't believe he responded.
Speaking of small town cops, when my husband was young, in a small town, they were driving around, and that was back when they would let you drive the strips, and you wouldn't get pulled. Now you can't do that. They make you can't drive more than like 2 passes or something. And we're talking the town he grew up in. There's nothing. There's like a Dairy Queen and a grocery store and a couple gas stations. There's more now, but then that's what there was. And they're driving around. They got their beer in the car and they're drinking. And one of the cops and we know his family. We've known him for years, and he was not an up and up cop. But he stopped him. He said, "Dude, y'all can't have the beer. You're underage. You got to get rid of the beer." So they go to pouring it out. He's like, wait, what are you doing? And he was like, well, we're pouring the beer. And it's like, I didn't say pour it out. I just said you can't have it. Hurry up, drink it before you get back in the car. and I'm like, well, they weren't even worried about DUIs or nothing. In fact, they just didn't worry about it back then. We're talking early 80s.
A lot different.
Yeah.
Small towns, that's just what they do.
Yeah. So anyways, Popcorn, when I messaged him, I just, I wanted to try to maybe befriend him a little bit, so he would maybe confide in me, even though I don't know this man from anything. But he pretty much told me there is no evidence that he is dead. And I said, you don't think he is dead? Why would he leave his family, though? People leave for lots of reasons. I didn't say he wasn't, but everyone assumes that he is. And I said, true. And I said, I would love to talk to you sometime. Think you're the best person to tell me about the people that was last known to be with Harry. Of course, he would not respond to me.
And I'm going to pronounce that town wrong if I even try it. It's Albia.
I've never heard it pronounced like that. Albia.
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 That is so cute. I love that.
That's that Southern Texas thing in me. I don't know how to pronounce that stuff.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah.
But I'm still going to say it wrong.
That's okay. That is okay. Anyway,
Look at that. That's how I see it. I'm just like,
when are we going to do this next segment, which is really going to be interesting, you guys, because you do not want to miss.
What day do y'all want to do it?
You let me know. I've got the time. This is your.
Well, Tuesday we have trivia with Melissa. We can do Wednesday again. That's fine.
Okay, so how about, would it be the
first?
The first?
Yeah, that's the first.
Okay, I will put you in my calendar.
So on the 8th, I'm doing, probably the 9th. I'm probably going to have to do the 9th. I've got to get with them. We're doing a update on Hopper Road. And I am hoping we are bringing some dirt. And
now, what is this on?
My Hopper Road case that I've been working on since 2019.
Give me a name so I can understand.
It is the murder of Curtis. Curtis and Jennifer.
Okay, I've not watched a full thing. I watched the one. We're
gonna do another one. We're not gonna do another pretty deep dive on it. I will tell y'all that when you get the BCI involved and others involved, and nobody can find the recording of the 911 call.
So So they got the DCI involved in that case.
They're trying.
They're trying. So
they are looking at it to see if they want to pick it up.
Well, we have DCI, but we only have one agent.
We only have one in our area.
In our area, yes. And he's very close to
the Good Old Boys Club.
Yeah.
Amanda says she had to teach you how to say y'all.
I don't even get me started. I try y'all.
There you go. That's it.
Y'all. When I would get on her panel and she'd do that, I love it, but I never, she was like, had to spell it out. Y'all.
That's second nature for us. I don't know how to say it any other way. When people go, you all, I'm like, why do you say you all?
That's what I'm like. You all.
Shorten that up.
Exactly. Okay, so we are going to
Iowa.
First.
Iowa, right? Am I getting the right state?
Iowa, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, with that one, and then we now have her and I have some pretty open communication with the man that's in prison that we thought was involved in the murders. We are now doubting what we originally thought. And I'm hoping that we can share more of that in December. But it's it's 14th anniversary of the murders. So we are wanting to bring as much as we can. And I told her I wasn't afraid of blowing it up.
Yeah.
I ain't scared.
Nikki says, TCA, your accent is the closest to the UK English. Really?
I disagree.
You disagree?
I love how we're trying to shorten it up and drawing out, y'all.
Shorten it up, but drawing it out, y'all.
And it's funny because I talk really fast. And so my husband's family forever kept saying, she's a Yankee. She's not Southern. I'm like, My husband like, if you listen to her. And then, he's in Indiana right now and they laugh at him about his accent. And he's like, no, y'all ain't seen an accent. Wait till my wife gets up here.
Yeah. I can talk fast, but only when I'm excited about something. And then I can't talk as fast as I really want to. And
I have to make myself slow down because I realize that what it is my brain is doing this number and my mouth's trying to keep up. So I have to make myself slow down.
Exactly the way I am, Brandy. It's terrible. It really is.
That's why I lose my train of thought, because as I'm speaking, my brain's already somewhere else thinking of something else I've got to say. And I'm like, wait, where was I at?
Yep, I agree. I'm just like that. So, so on the first, either Michelle come here or I'm going to try to help her get like StreamYard and stuff so she can do panels too. And the more awareness we have about Harry, I believe, and I know Michelle believes, the answer is right in front of us. It really is. We just have to prove it.
Yes. And a lot of my focus after the first of the year is going to be wrongful convictions and cold cases. And I'm still going to do the crimes that have been happening. I'm kind of throwing those in, but a lot of my stuff, that's where I'm going.
Well, and I would love to do, I'll send you, I was supposed to do Todd Mullis with TT, but that didn't happen. I would love, because that man, I do believe, is sitting in prison and he did nothing. And if anybody wants to know about that case, go to the Facebook page. Todd Mullis is innocent. You guys, it's awful. It's so sad.
Well, I'm talking with the Vaughn family, Chris Vaughn's family, and there's another family in that group, Kevin Frankie, and his brother was killed, but they're fighting for wrongful conviction because they don't think the man that's in prison is guilty. And so that is super fascinating. And we're talking major cop cover-up.
Oh,
major.
wow.
And same time frame. It was in the 80s, but it was in Oregon. And fascinating. I messaged Kevin the other day and I said, okay, you're the one in the podcast, right? And he said, yes. And I said, dude, I'm loving the F-bombs. He was like, yeah, it's not PG rated. And I'm like, no, but I love it. And so I'm excited to have him come on because he is hilarious. But and it's funny to hear him talk about it because he's like, I don't care. They're wrong. But that's just kind of where, we've got these cases that are solved and we've got the cases that are pretty and neat and whatever else. And more focus needs to be on these kind of cases where there's nothing being done about it or people are sitting in prison for the wrong reason. And those are important.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are doing and I'm not saying anything bad about it, the ones that are being covered by the mainstream media. And that's why I want to work. My focus will always be Harry, but the other ones, there's 3-4 years ago, a 19-year-old 20 miles south just disappeared too.
Yep.
And Mark and his family donated a sign for his family so people don't quit talking about it. I mean,
well, in my little Kathy Jones case, and I'll cover it the same week as we do this one, I'll do extra that week. But, her case is 50-something years old and 12-year-old murdered child. And when you read about her murder and what her body looked like, that'll change you. And the fact that it's never been solved, they actually had a man arrested for it and then they let him go. He's still one of the number one suspects. There's 2 suspects and he's one of them. And I'm like, why? Why do we wait this long before anything is done? And when I talk to an investigator, and I have an interview on the channel with him, and he says they did good work. He's like, I don't know what happened. They did their job. He's like, I don't know why this isn't solved. And he's like, but it's never too late. And he said, you never know when you're talking about these cases that are cold. You never know what you're talking about may make somebody go, oh, wait, I remember this. And they'll have something just like the little boy all of a sudden seen the car and he remembered the whole thing. There may be somebody say, oh, I remember a car, this blue car. And that could be the turning point of the whole investigation. You never know. And so he said, you just talk about them and you get people listening and you get people talking. And then no detail is too little for these cases. And it's a matter of talking about them. Just getting people to talk. Chicken chat.
Yes. And that's just it. We just got to keep going, keep pushing.
And so when we come back on the 1st, we're going to talk about the different players.
Yes.
And I'm going to have it a little more broke down so that we can kind of paint a really big picture. I almost want to do like Lana does with a dry erase board, but
You almost made one.
I've got one. I haven't got it put up. It's downstairs.
there's a few cases that I want to talk about. And I'm like, my Lord, there's 30 people involved in this. How do you make people,
And I
how do
would
you
need-
discuss that so people can keep up with who's who? It's impossible.
Yeah. If you get a hold of me, I can give you like I made family trees for the Milligans family because it is so complicated. I'm going to do the same thing for the Davis family and the Stalker family because people are so related.
Yes.
And it kind of helps me keep things straight.
So are any of these individuals in this related to Harry?
No, Harry is,
Because he's adopted. So
yeah.
but are they related to his family at all? The adopted family?
Nope. But the Comstocks, the Davises, just, and I don't know.
It just seems like I went through obituaries and it seems like so many people were related to Mike Stalker and so many people were related to, my mind, Michelle.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Oh my God. Maddie,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I dug Maddie. I mean, it just seems like if you pull up a bit, it's like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that this person was this person's cousin. And, it's just everybody's related to everybody in this town, or they know their families or friends with their families.
What's the population there?
3,000.
Oh, wow.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, really?
I'm pretty sure, maybe a little bit, give or take. Let me
I
look.
would guess more like
So yeah, this is pretty close to the same size town that my husband went to school in. Like,
Okay, maybe that was what it was back in 1984.
like my son's graduating class had 98 people.
Oh wow.
my graduating class.
Yeah,
I was like 21.
3,727.
Yeah, my graduating class, I think we had 35.
I mean, yeah, it's a small town.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and my son's class was one of the biggest that they had in like 20 years. So small town.
Yep. So, well, thank you so much, Brandy.
Thank you. And we will see you all back on the 1st to finish discussing this. We're going to have it broke down with the different players and stories. And
did you get my link of Michelle's?
Yes, Angela put it in the chat.
And I'll post it in mine too. So
yeah, Angela posted it in the chat.
Thank you, Angela. You're a doll.
Next week, I won't be live next week, guys, but I will be I'll do a premiere video. My husband called yesterday and he's coming in for the week. So I'm shutting everything down, but I'm going to record this weekend, but it's going to be on the Kelsey Barrett murder, Patrick Frazee.
Yeah. I want to watch that. Yeah.
That was a Thanksgiving murder. And so I thought, let's do something for Thanksgiving. Yeah. So I'll release that Wednesday.
All right. Well,
and so
you guys, and thank you, chat and mods. You guys are awesome.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Make sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. Appreciate it. I am getting there. I'm super excited.
You're doing amazing, Brandy. You
Thank
really
you.
are.
Thank you. I've done almost 150, 160 subs since Wednesday.
All right.
Hey, I'll take it.
Yep.
I'm getting there.
That's exactly right. I feel like the way I look at it, my sub count goes up just a little bit every here and there, but the subs that I'm getting, they are awesome. They're not, hate watching, and they're really respectful, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, and I'm that's what I was telling the girls today. A lot of people go on about it needing to grow faster or whatever, and had I jumped in and done Gabby Petito, I probably would have grown like crazy. But I don't like to jump in and do the popular cases.
Well, I don't like doing ones that my friends are doing. I
don't either.
I know it wouldn't bother them, but honestly, I feel like I'm stepping on their toes, and I know that the more out there, but I think I would be too nervous doing a big case like that, I will just stick to
My issue with those, and this is my personal thing, is that I am afraid of finding information that I think is legit and then finding out later that it's not.
Yeah.
And being the whole, and
Mhm.
I don't want to be anything that derails any kind of investigation.
Yeah.
And so, and then you have things like we always talk about, and this is one of those, it's touchy. Thank you, Amanda. That's too sweet.
No,
Everybody talks about the Gabby Petitos.
Yes. Yep.
And what happened to her was dreadful and horrible. But even her family said, there's others.
Mhm.
Talk about them too. And so that's kind of when I heard her dad say that, it inspired me to make sure I talked about the things nobody else. That's why I talked about Kendrick Lee. And that's why I will keep talking about Kendrick Lee, because that case there in Houston is insane and should have never happened. And the systems have to change. And until the media does it on their own, nothing's going to change.
Yep.
So
I agree.
Nikki, you're right. When they all do the same thing, then it's hard. People don't have anything to go watch. They're all watching the same thing, and it's the same information over and over again. So it just, I like to do different things, and I like my cases that nobody talks about. I really do.
Yeah. You and me both. But I
Thank you,
appreciate
Angela, I think you're kind of biased, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Angela.
I mean, I do have a lot of contacts, and I do hit them up. And of course, they have been, with COVID, all of my contacts have been super open to help because they couldn't do anything. And now that everything's opening back up, they're like, I've had so many of them this week, and I'm like, can we get anything in the next month or two? And they're like, I am so stocked up with Court TV. I'm like, well, excuse me, I'm not Court TV. It's like, can't compete with Court TV and Nancy Grace, dang.
Well, I just posted it, but you definitely know how to present a storyline. You're really good at that. And
Well, thank you.
I appreciate you getting a hold of me and, asking me to do this. It meant a lot.
Well, I wanted, because I had only heard little bits of this story. And so I was definitely wanting to get it out there. And, we all have different viewers. We have a lot of the same, but we all have some different too. And so it's just good to.
I was supposed to be going on Larry's Saturday, but then something came up. And so I'm sure I'll be going on his sometime. And then Alex Erickson, Melissa, when, she's been busy.
Thank you, Nikki. I can't wait to really talk. Like, when I do Gypsy, y'all are going to probably be blown away.
I really want to see the Gypsy one.
And I mean, she is one who spurred me with true crime, because I've been doing true crime for, my mother wrote true crime articles when I was a kid. And so it's been a passion since I was very young, but getting into social media with Gypsy case, it grew me. And Gypsy will take me 3 or 4 episodes easy.
Yeah.
To do.
No,
and it's going to bring the haters. So I need to be prepared.
Yeah. I don't.
It's going to bring the haters from the ones we know, and it's going to bring the haters from my ex-partner. So she's going to be pissed.
I don't.
He doesn't want me talking about it. And
you're talking about the other channel, that one too.
She's going to be ugly about it.
Yeah.
She's not going to like some of the things I have to say, because they do concern her.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely be watching. So I've got to get off of here. My kids are home. And
thank you, ladies, for joining me tonight. And I will see you all on the 1st.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Y'all have a happy Thanksgiving.
You guys too. And I'll be seeing you on all of you guys, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thanks.
But thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. And y'all have a good one. This case is extremely fascinating. And oh, look, you can see my coffee maker in the back. I took it out of the box and I put the box up. Definitely intrigued by this case. There's a lot of cover-up going on and a lot of questions. Like, why? Why have they not searched those areas? But we definitely got to talk about those parties and the different, and was reading up on them, and I'm like, it's a lot. So we'll have it together and bring you the different characters and the players and their stories and how they've changed. And we'll do that on the 1st. So I hope y'all come back to see us then. Enjoy y'all's weekend. I have got a lot going on this weekend, and getting ready for my husband to come home for the week, and get ready for Thanksgiving. Her channel, Angela, did you drop her channel? I think it is just TCA on her channel. I think Angela dropped it. Let's see. Angela, you still here? Ouch. No, it was further up. Let me see. It is. Did you see that one? There it is, Nikki. Thank you, Angela. You're the best. So anyways, everybody, thank y'all for joining me tonight. Thank you for the support. I appreciate you dearly. And I am looking forward to my channel growing and bringing you more content. And I'm going to work on trying to get more lives a week in. Trying to get this one down. This move is going to be a lot. Once I get this move done and situated, then throwing content out will be no big deal. So have a good night, everybody. Stay safe. Enjoy your week with your families. Remember, you never know when that last I love you is going to happen. So make sure you tell them I love you often. And I will see y'all all next week.